there's a skeleton in everybody's closet. I can think of one or two in my own room. But I would like to introduce them both to you. Shake their bony hands and help dispel the gloom. Because you're so kind, I know you would not mind. Anyway, you know who I'm quoting there? You guys ever heard the Crash Test Dummies? Hey guys, I'm Matt the Greeter. And here's a band that if you're my age, born in the 1970s, you probably are aware of the Crash Test Dummies. And was it Brad Roberts, Dan Roberts? Brad was the singer, right? Dan played, what did he play, bass or something? And there was, what was her name? Ellen York or something like that? I can't really remember. Maybe I could have told you 2 decades ago. So, there was a time when I was in maybe a senior in high school, or maybe I was a freshman in college. Well, I went for a ride in my buddy's Jeep. This was back when Jeeps were Jeeps, you know, and they weren't just glorified cars. It was a Jeep, man, and it drove like a Jeep, it looked like a Jeep, it even smelled like a Jeep. It was a Jeep, it was cool. And, you know, I've been toying around with learning manual transmission and whatever, so my buddy Dave took me around in the Jeep and had a little flashlight on his foot so I could watch him shift. And it was at night, by the way, so thus the flashlight. So I could kind of watch him, listen to the engine, and watch him shift and kind of try to figure out, you know, what sounds went with what shifts and this and that. You know, it was pretty cool. It was mighty kind of him. But he did me a bigger favor than that. And while we were on the road, he popped in a cassette of this band called the Crash Test Dummies. They're from the mighty nation of Canada, which is just to my north, a few hundred miles. And I fell madly in love with the sound of The Ghosts That Haunt Me. That album, I couldn't believe it. It was so good, and so the lyrics were intelligent, and the music was very traditional sounding, but in a very pleasing way. And I just loved it, absolutely loved it. And the name, of course, you know. Now, Crash Dummies around here are people they're usually younger, and they get sent in to do a job that other people don't want to do, and they're probably going to get their butt kicked for it or whatever. That's not the kind of dummy we're talking about. The Crash Test Dummies, of course, riding in the car and slamming into various walls and this and that. And are we testing safety features, or are we just having fun here, or can we do both? Oh, so the name grabbed me right away, Crash Test Dummies. I thought it was hilarious. And then their next album, which I'm spacing on, it had, you know, The Psychic, and it had you know, the song. Once there was this girl. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I had a very deep singing voice back then, and Brad Richards had a really deep voice. You know, so it was actually finally a band I could sing along with. You know, for real. And you know, when my parents had the record player, I could speed up the record player or slow it down so I could sing with it. But Crash Test Dummies, I didn't have to do any of that. It was ready to sing, ready for my musical enjoyment. Speaking of the ghosts that haunt me, here we are, Erastus, son of Joseph and Sally Bobbins, born June 13th, 1818, died 1853. Yeah, I was a pretty young dude, huh? That was the way of it back then. Anyway, Crash Test Dummies, their first 2 albums were great, and then, you know what happens? The 3rd album had a good song on it or 2, but then I think Brad moved to Brooklyn, New York or whatever, because he just needed something different. But that moved him out of a land of wonder for me, you know, the Canada and the Canadian perspective, and into like America, and like can't get more American than Brooklyn. And I just lost interest. You know, it was like Sorry, buddy. Like, it was great. You had me in the first 2 albums, but this is where I get off, I'm afraid. But anyway, those first 2 albums, The Ghosts That Haunt Me, and then man, I'll probably think of it another time. But that other album too was really terrific. So anyway, guys, Matt the Greeter, you know, check those first 2 albums out. See if there's something in there you like as well. You know, I don't know. maybe it's just me. But anyway, guys, I'll check in with you real soon. All right, care about you. Thanks for riding along. Bye.